You just saw the lecturing style of teaching, which is very common among my teachers. In-class activities do occur, but not so often. Here we go. After sitting through 3 15-minute classes, a 15-minute break is good for everybody. Usually, every other day, there is school during the afternoon, which normally lasts till 5 o'clock. Due to the fact that my school is so close to the city, and there is a 60-minute break for lunch, many of my friends and I walk to an Italian or Turkish restaurant to get real food for lunch.
Und ich habe eine Überweisung für Dr. Ammann gekriegt. Ja, und das hat man bald mal angegeben.
I personally prefer Italian. Now, I'd like you to meet Alberic, our French exchange student. Please, welcome my English teacher, Mrs. Gögele.
Remember what a file is? Can you tell me in English?
In today's world, English is a very important, if not mandatory language to know and be fluent in. My English class especially has a very high standard.
So I hope you enjoy my presentation and maybe you will hear something new.
This immigration lasted from 1955 to 1964.
After a few years, as you know, the textile industry expanded to China, to India, to cheaper countries because there they could produce more for less money.
But not every class is in English.
Also Sie, auch wie ich das vorlese, natürlich völlig dilettantisch. Man kann natürlich ganz andere Pausen machen oder irgendwie so. Nur, dass ihr da ein bisschen Eindruck kriegt. Und eines habe ich noch.
There are also a few other things I would like you to know. First of all, take a look at the chalkboard, because schools in Austria are usually not as modernly equipped as schools in the States are. That doesn't mean that there is so much less money around. It is just spent differently. As you saw in the very beginning of this part, the school I go to is kinda ugly looking. It can't be renovated, however, since it was designated a historic monument, which it, honestly, does not deserve. But there are some funny teachers. Before we'll jump to the drama club, I want to point out that every student has to have at least 2 hours of gym per week, and it's also in the schedule every semester. At many European schools, after-school activities do not really exist. In that aspect, my school is fairly unique, since we have at least a drama club, yeah! But we just perform once or twice a year.
Komm, das Schluck von deiner Einsamkeit und Traurigkeit, der Kaktussaft.
This is what we all have been waiting for. Feldkirch. The town I live in has a population of about 30,000 and is located in the most western part of Austria, right next to Switzerland. Feldkirch as a city is very famous for its medieval city center, and probably most importantly for this castle, the Schattenburg. The Counts of Montfort, a noble dynasty in the region, built this castle around 1200 AD. During its history, it has been fully burnt down and rebuilt. Also, it closely escaped being demolished 3 times because the city needed a break very badly. Right behind the castle is my grandparents' house, where I lived a few years of my life. So, let's come back to the city. As I already mentioned, Feldkirch is very medieval, and you can clearly see that right now. Feldkirch is a pretty small city by itself, but the fact that it is in the middle of the Rhine Valley, which is basically the only major valley in the area, and thus is very densely populated, makes it a lot more urban. There's also a river called Ill, which flows right next to the city center. After the Rhine, it is the second biggest river in the Austrian state of Vorarlberg. That's why there are so many hydropower plants that use the Ill's water. One of those hydropower plants is in this city and majorly contributes to the city's energy demands. Besides water, especially wind and sun are used to produce renewable energy throughout the nation. All in all, more than 60% of all energy produced in Austria comes from renewable sources, and the number is still increasing. It is no surprise that this value is by far number one in the European Union. Feldkirch is the only Catholic cathedral in the state, where I'm an altar boy about once a month. Our priest is the friendliest person you can possibly imagine. This is the night of the music! A lot of people told me that some Americans ask stupid questions, as, for example, "What's the supermarket like where you're from?" Well, it is basically the same. That's what I want to point out here. There are a few differences, but all in all, you can get anything you can get in the United States. The Schwimmbad Felsenau is the oldest still open swimming pool in the States. It was built in 1903. I love going there with family or friends, because it is a lot smaller and quieter than all the other pools in the area. One of those friends is Eric. So, this is the end of my movie, but keep watching. There's still a few shots. You can just watch. I know I've been talking a lot. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this movie and maybe you know more about me now. See ya.